Hey everyone, Ben from SF Possibilities here. I hope you're all keeping well. I recently posted a quote from this book, Brief Coaching for Lasting Solutions, around how it's useful to listen to clients' complaints. Okay, all client complaints are useful to listen to because they point us in the direction of what needs to be changed, what they want to be different. And I was thinking about this a little bit more recently during supervision sessions with other solution-focused therapists and practitioners. And I'd noticed that in multiple people's sessions, they'd been doing almost this, what I would call like a two-step of questioning, where they'd been listening to a client's complaint. So, for example, someone says, I'm really frustrated with life at home at the moment. And they're just asking this little question, something along the lines of, what is it that's frustrating you at home at the moment? And that's different to how I've been taught. That's different to how I would normally practice, because I'd be going straight into, after I've heard them say, I'm frustrated with life at home at the moment, I'd be going straight into, so what do you hope to be different about life at home? What do you want life at home to be like instead? Right, so going straight into the hoped for outcome. And what I observed in these sessions, and by the way, this is work done by therapists and practitioners who I have a lot of respect for. This is from highly skilled people. And I observed them just asking this first little question around, so, what is it that's frustrating you at home? And maybe the client says something like, I'm finding that I'm losing my patience with the children too quickly. I'm being quite short-tempered, getting into, arguments with them. And then after hearing that, after listening to that complaint, then the therapist or practitioner is moving into, okay, and what would you hope to be different about the conversations with your children, right? What would you like to be happening instead between yourself and your children? And maybe they say something like, I want to be more patient with them, I want to be more calm around them, and that starts to form the desired outcome, the hoped for outcome that the session is then built around. And I'm just wondering really around the possible benefits of this. I mean, it is essentially a problem-focused question that's been thrown in there. So is it an unnecessary bit of problem talk, or is it maybe useful acknowledgement? Is it letting the client's complaint breathe sufficiently to then move into hoped for outcomes? It's a question to ponder. Makes me think of having one foot in acknowledgement and one foot in possibility, and whether allowing the client's complaint to breathe a little bit is putting a firm foot in acknowledgement, ready to push off into possibility. I remember I'm not a particularly good sportsman, but I did used to play a little bit of badminton for my university team, and I remember my coach always teaching us to, whenever we took a step, to always be thinking about moving in the other direction, all right? Positioning ourselves as well as possible to move in the other direction. So if, for example, I was stepping to the right-hand side to reach a shot, he'd already be teaching us to think, how can I place my foot? How can I take this step in a way that allows me to push off as strongly and as quickly as possible in the opposite direction as soon as I played the shot? And I just wondered whether this kind of little extra question that's maybe allowing the client's complaint to breathe just for a moment is a bit like that. Is it taking a firm step of acknowledgement, ready to push off, strongly and quickly into the direction of hoped for outcomes and desired changes? Something to consider. I prompted the therapists and the practitioners in question to reflect on this themselves. I pointed it out to them and said, have you noticed that that's what you're doing? Most of them said no. Most of them said, I weren't even aware that that's what they were doing. Felt that it wasn't something they did all the time or even commonly. And then when asked, so what was it about? these sessions that told you it would be a useful thing to do, that it would be a good thing to do to ask that extra little question. Most people just said it was probably gut instinct, right? That after, like I say, these are therapists, practitioners who I've got a lot of respect for. And I think they just felt after a number of years of doing this sort of work, there was some sort of gut instinct that was telling them it would be it would be an appropriate thing to do, just to let this client's complaint breathe for a moment by asking one little question before then pushing off in the direction of desired hopes, outcomes, and the conversations that we all love to have. So there's a few thoughts for you. Like I say, the quote came from the book Brief Coaching for Lasting Solutions. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this sort of stuff. And yeah, let us know what you want, what would be most useful from us at SF Possibilities at the moment. We are still around doing bits of training, doing bits of supervision. If you want to hear particular discussions or videos on certain topics, please let us know. We want to put out stuff that is useful to you guys. All right, take care now. Have a great week.